So have you bought your ticket to heaven yet? Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Zach, the Wretched Watchman. I'm bringing you a little bit of news and just absolute ridiculousness. Sometimes it's, oh my goodness, sometimes you run into something that's both newsworthy, worth debunking, as well as it's good for a laugh at the same time. And then in this case, this is definitely a good one. So there's been a meme, I guess, that's been circulating around. I've kind of seen it. Even some media places have picked up on it regarding a pastor who seems to be selling plots of land in heaven. What is it, for about $100 a square meter, square foot, however they put it. And it's so ridiculous, because when I first heard about it, I was like, okay, I can believe that. I mean, you look at a lot of the stuff that we see going on, that pastors are trying to pull fast ones, not here just in the United States, but all over. It's just nuts out there. And so for some pastor to go out there, yes, make sure you buy your plots of land. I've got a personal line to heavenly real estate where the angels are selling plots of land in order to get up there. And it's just a whole new take on stuff. And I go, yeah, I can believe that. But apparently this one seems to be debunked. And so we're going to go ahead and take a look at this. And it says, can we really buy plot in heaven? Reality of Mexico churches offer. The news quoted the pastor of the church as saying he spoke in 2017 to God, who authorized the sale of his plots. Now, for anybody who pays attention to all the crazy stuff out there, mainly when it comes to the charismatic movement and stuff like that, many of them believe that, they have direct conversation. This is not prayer, guys. Prayer is absolutely a direct line, but actually having a back and forth conversation with God, or meeting Jesus, or going up to heaven and being told stuff. And so we've seen this type of stuff before. So for a pastor to say, yeah, I've got a direct line to God, and he said to start selling plots of land in heaven, I would absolutely believe that. But again, this isn't exactly legit news. This is the news of a church in Mexico selling plots of land in heaven took over social media this week after influencers posted it on TikTok. Many mainstream media outlets published the news saying that the Iglesia del Final de los Tiempos church, I think I almost got that. See, I'm improving. Only if I can improve on my English. That would be great. Church had collected millions of dollars through land deals promising a spot in heaven. However, it turned out that the headline-grabbing church is actually a satire evangelical church that mocks grifting pastors. The organization's pages are very popular on social media. Okay, so before we go any further, I've seen this stuff all the time. I've seen different pages where they get set up as a satire church or satire pastor or satire leader or something like that, and their whole job is to have fun and be and make fun of these people that do it. It's kind of like the Babylon Bee and stuff like that, where it's all about making fun of this stuff. Now, I went to this Facebook page of this church. I'm just gonna say I don't recommend anybody go there. They have pictures and stuff that aren't necessarily good for Christians to be looking at. So I'm just gonna warn you ahead of time. I don't recommend searching this out. But hey, you're your own person, so if you want to do it, you can. I don't speak Spanish or Mexican, so I can't read much of what they're doing, but I just took a peek, and clearly they're in it for satire reasons. But yeah, so anything coming from that page is definitely not going to be legit, but that is part of these groups and stuff that I see all the time that are out to make fun of this stuff, especially the pastors who actually go out there and try and sell plots of land in heaven for worldly money. I mean, these are probably the same guys that are, the king in Jordan, who needs you to send him $5,000 for him to regain his throne back, and after he does it, he'll send you $5 million in return. All those email scams. But it said the so-called land deal claims that the starting price for the plots is $100 per square meter. and that interested buyers can pay using American Express, Apple Pay, or set up a payment plan. I just love how they go in so in depth with that, because that's exactly what these churches would do, that are trying to push this garbage stuff like this. Wait, I wonder if Joel Osteen's behind this. Live your best life now. Sorry. Okay, so the news quoted the pastor of the church as saying he spoke in 2017 to God, who authorized the sale of his plots. Many users shared the news on social media, and then a barrage of comments followed. I wish a pastor would try to sell me some land in heaven. I'm going to send him there and tell him to FaceTime me so I can see what I'm buying. I need to know who donated so I can let them know I'm offering discounts on. Oh man, that's like the classic. Hey, I got beachfront property available for sale in Wisconsin. Stuff like that. It says finessing in the name of the Lord is diabolical. Which, yeah, that's true. That's just a straight up true shot at that. Hey, if you're a real good businessman, spend $100 or I don't know, buy 50 plots of land from this pastor, then turn around and sell it at a higher price, and maybe get some money. Don't do that. That was a joke. I'm not endorsing doing that. Calm down. There's going to be somebody in there getting ready on their keyboard. How dare you go? No, I'm not doing that. It's a joke. Calm down. We need to laugh a little bit. Seriously, people, lighten up. Okay. There's more to this though, and I cut it off there specifically because I actually I want to show you more. So that's the latest news that just came out. This was like 2 days ago that this started making the rounds. So I did a little looking around to see if there was anything else in the past about this type of shenanigans getting pushed around there. Now, there's some other stuff out there. Like there's a guy, Frank something, I think from like a Ugandan church, that was trying to do the same thing, where he was telling his followers to sell their land and to donate the money to him, and he'll buy even bigger land in heaven for them and stuff. There's all this type of stuff, but I found one that is just absolutely ridiculous, and I had to share it with you guys. Come on, we got to have a laugh going into this weekend, right? It says Zimbabwean pastor arrested for selling tickets to heaven. And you can actually see those are the legit tickets. It's a piece of 2x4 spray painted gold, and it says ticket to heaven +1. Oh my goodness. It says this is in Cairo. This is in 2018. It says Pastor Tito Watts, a Zimbabwe-based clergyman, and his wife Amanda were arrested for selling tickets to heaven. According to the police, the pastor and his wife scammed people into buying $500 tickets that shall get them into the gates of heaven with no judgment. It says, I do not care what people or police are saying about me. I am being persecuted because of doing the work of God. The pastor said, according to Zimbabwean news outlets. He claims Jesus Christ appeared to him and gave him the tickets made of pure gold. It's an interesting style of gold, so that I can sell to people who want salvation. News reports claim thousands of people were protesting the pastor's arrest. They called on the police to release him immediately. Watts told those who sought salvation that the tickets were made from solid gold, and each ticket reserved the buyer a place in heaven. Okay, so there's a little bit more to the story, but this is a joke too. So I did some looking into this, and this was a hoax piece of media that was spread from like when you go to the grocery store and the little news magazine racks that they have at each checkout aisle. There's one like the National Reporter or Global News or whatever, and it's all about things like aliens abducting people and stuff like that. Well, it's from a news website kind of like that in Egypt. But I got a point to all this. I just got to share this because and this is a warning, this is truly something to learn from, is we can't just go off of headlines alone, because I see so much news and stuff getting spread everywhere that's all based on just the headline, and they don't read any other parts of the news. And so if you just look at the headline and go, wow, Zimbabwean pastor arrested for selling tickets to heaven. Well, if that's all you read and start spreading it around, and that's all everybody else reads and starts spreading this around, that's how we get so much bad news going out there, where there's confusion and stuff, and it's just not legit. And so that's why I think it's important to read, because we saw already how ridiculous it was, but it gets even more ridiculous. According to Inside Story, this was Watt's police statement. I don't care what the police say. The tickets are solid gold. It ain't cut up by ain't cut up 2x4s. I spray painted gold, and it was Jesus who gave them to me behind the KFC and said to sell them so I could get me some money to go to outer space. I met an alien named Stevie who said if I got the cash together, he'd take me and my wife on his flying saucer to his planet that's made entirely of crack cocaine. Yeah. This is why it's so important. Sorry. This is why it's so important that we read the rest of the news story and not just based off headlines. Because I saw this story everywhere as legit news because they never actually read this. It says you can smoke all the crack cocaine that you want totally free. So try to send an innocent man to jail and see what happens. You should arrest Jesus because he's the one that gave me the golden tickets and said to sell them. I'm willing to wear a wire and set Jesus up. Wow. The wife, Amanda Watts, said the following in her police statement. We just wanted to leave Earth and go to space and smoke rock cocaine. I didn't do nothing. Tito sold the golden tickets to heaven. I just watched. And then it goes on to say police then confiscated over $10,000 in cash, 5 crack pipes, and a baby alligator. Oh my goodness. You just can't make this stuff up. I'm telling you. You just can't make this stuff up. Okay, so I'm trying to wrangle it in because of how absurd this is. Okay, so what's my point? Am I just putting this out just to, just put out a funny, stupid video? I mean, that's part of the reason why. Again, sometimes we just got to have some fun with this stuff. But there's a couple points to this after we get through the ridiculousness of it. There's a couple points to this that I do want to point out. One is don't just read the headlines of articles, because a lot of these headlines are built just to be that's enough for people to share it. And there's obviously a lot more. And as we can see in this story, it took a twist, that's for sure. Talking about crack planets and being arrested with baby alligators and stuff. So obviously this is fake. The other thing to understand is there is some legit stories out there about shyster con men pastors that are doing stuff like this. And now obviously these are more the egregious stuff. But when you compare the egregious to what some of these other pastors are doing when it comes to sharing things like the prosperity gospel, sharing things like you're not truly saved unless you show apostolic gifts, which aren't for our time, or you do any of these types of things, then it's just another version of the con men, the con job that these pastors, quote unquote pastors, are doing. And it's becoming more and more relevant, more and more real in the times that we're living right now, where people are being duped into doing this. Some are being duped, some are being deceived into it. Some of them, well, this is what they asked for. And so this is a judgment given by God. It's like, okay, if this is what you want, you don't want me, but you want all of this other stuff, then I'm going to give it to you. And that's why we see people like Joel Osteen and T.D. Jakes and Kenneth Copeland and Stephen Furtick and Bill Johnson and all these other guys out there racking in money, and their churches are filled to the brim, and they've got $1 million buildings and all this stuff, private jets and everything, is because people aren't seeking God. They're seeking the junk, the snake oil that these guys are selling. And so God basically gave them what they want. And this is why it's important. We never follow our hearts, never follow the heart, because the flesh will lead you astray every time. That's why we need to be in the word. We need to be studying the word in context, not just reading what we want to read and ignoring the rest. Just like when we see articles like this, where we're just reading what we want to read, that headline, and not reading the rest that may take it in a different direction. Just like buying plots of land in heaven from a fake satire site, and cracked planets with 2x4 tickets into heaven and baby alligators. That's also, well, sorry, I just can't get through that without laughing. So while, this is ridiculous and we can see through these types of things like that, just remember there's a lot more sneaky, deceptive deviousness going on under the radar that isn't as easy to recognize as what we just read. And so I think that's just an important thing to remind ourselves. I know a lot of people might look at this and go, well, this is just pointless. I already know all that. But there's a difference between knowing it and actively making that a part of your daily walk, because I know great people that get swallowed up into some of this con stuff that we got to make sure that we're not doing. Hey, I just put out something not too long ago about the petrodollar, and that was fake news as well. And I had to retract that and apologize. And I still feel bad that I did that. And so it doesn't matter if you know it, it's still something that we got to constantly be on the lookout for. So just want to put that out there. Important thing to remember and to remind ourselves as we read through some of these ridiculous things. Anyways, I'm going to leave you guys right here. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out. Maranatha.